Hey, if this is your first time coming to the channel, I'd like to welcome you. This is Lessons Learned with Pancreatic Cancer. My name is Willie, and yes, I have stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Now, I really don't even know how to begin this video because all this was new to me before I was diagnosed with this terminal cancer. Really don't know, still don't know really what to even think of it. It's kind of like your mind's in some type of a fog. As more time goes on, I'm getting better about trying to process it and being a little more hopeful than I was in the beginning. So my story don't start no different than anybody else's for the most part. It's pretty much the same thing you hear all the time about this cancer. You know, I was going about my life normal, no issues, and all of a sudden started having some issues that warranted me to go and get a checkup and try to figure it out. So for the most part, up to this point, you know, I led a fairly active life. You know, I was in the military for about 21 years. I retired. And even after the military, I still had, you know, enough energy to say, you know what, I'm going to try a second career or see, you know, where I'm going to go from here with life. So I started working for the State Department of Corrections. I did that for about 5 years or so after that, and then thought it was time for another change, and I went ahead and became a police officer for the town I live in. So when I became a police officer, you know, that's when I kind of noticed that there were certain things I started having problems with health-wise. Simple tasks were not as simple for me. I thought at first, you know, maybe I'm just getting older. Age is kicking in. Not that spring chicken anymore. But over time, you know, I had to get another reassignment, and I went into code enforcement because it gave me more time to slow the pace down and kind of do it at a or deal with situations at a slower pace. So I went into that, had no issues, did it for a couple of years, and then just one day I was sitting at work and I literally was having a conversation with one of my coworkers, and I just flat out just passed out in the middle of a conversation. Don't really know why or how that happened. Don't even know if it's associated with pancreatic cancer. Just kind of giving you kind of like my backstory here. But at that point, I knew, I was like, you know what? I'm done with the workforce. I'm going to go ahead and tap out for good and call it a day. So at that point, I was officially retired. You know, came home. My wife, love my wife to death. She's really supportive of me. She was still working her job, or she still is, and she had no problem with it. She, for the longest, wanted me to call it quits and just kind of be able to be around home and take care of things at home. So, you know, I was kind of, not saying I was forced to do that, but it was something that I didn't have no problems. You know, I was okay at that point of walking away from the workforce. So we pretty much started our life off from there where, you know, it was a lot of vacations and traveling and stuff. And keep in mind, all this is before pancreatic cancer. We're kind of making up in our mind, like, you know what, we're going to enjoy life now. And now we only have to worry about one person being able to work around one schedule for vacation. So we were looking forward to it. We were constantly on the go. Like every time we had a free chance, we were on vacation. Literally, it didn't matter what it was. Every weekend we were gone, and we were loving it. 2023, we were coming to the end of our vacation time in the summer, but I think it was our last one for the year, because we usually shut down in the fall and winter. We don't like to do too much traveling just because of the weather conditions around that time. But I noticed that when we got to the first leg of our destination, we were doing an overnight stay in Airbnb. And the first thing I noticed was, you know, we were hungry, got something to eat, got pizza as usual, and I love pizza. Started eating, but I ate like one slice, and I was full off just one slice of pizza, which again, didn't send up a red flag. I just thought maybe like, hey, I just finished doing an 8-hour road trip. I'm just exhausted a little bit. I'll come back, eat some later on, walk away from it. So I ended up doing that, and I never came back to the pizza. I like literally all night had one slice, and then I was kind of talking to my wife about it. I was like, well, man, I said, I don't know. There's a little discomfort in my stomach. I said, I don't know why my stomach just feels full all of a sudden. So we still didn't pay it no mind. We kind of went on to the second leg of our vacation, and we spent, did an overnight stay at this other hotel that we were staying at, kind of doing our little paranormal or haunted house investigation. And it kind of got put on the back burner. We were doing our normal events, wasn't thinking about it too much at the time. But we left there. Then we went to my in-laws' house in Tyler, Texas. We got there and everything was still fine, but we went out to eat, I think the next day or so. And again, went to a nice place. Same problem, I couldn't really finish my food, or I didn't want to eat a lot, or I was really full after just a couple of bites. Started thinking about it a little more, not like just consuming my thoughts, but still it was on my mind. So our vacation was over. We came back home after that, back to Colorado. I just started noticing like a dull pain that was in my side over by where my kidneys are, where my kidney is on my left side. So I was just thinking, I said, maybe I have a kidney infection, something simple. Maybe I just need to drink some cranberry juice or something. So I did that for a little bit, really no relief in sight. I was going to it was coming up time for me to go to my doctor for my annual medication refills. Like I'm on certain medications already, like for blood pressure, for pre-diabetic, stuff like that. So I was coming up due for my annual exam, and I have to get that annual exam to get my meds refilled. So went there for that. I was talking to my family nurse practitioner, Lisa, phenomenal nurse. I mean, I've been with her for probably maybe 13 years now. And I told her, I was like, I said, I got this dull pain that's around my kidney area. And, she felt around that area and everything. And she just kind of was like, maybe, it's a, little sore from the trip. You just got back from a road trip. So she gave me, I think, naproxen, or she prescribed me naproxen. So I took that, went home, took pills as prescribed. Pain went away. So I'm like, wow, it went away. So I wasn't going to sit up there and I'm just the type of person, once the pain go away, I'm not going to try to finish off the prescription to the end. I'm going to stop taking it because I really don't like taking a lot of meds. So I stopped taking it. And then right when I stopped taking it, the discomfort and pain came back. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. So it lets me know that whatever it is still there. And the only thing naproxen did was alleviate the discomfort. So I think a week or so passed, and I ended up going back to my family nurse practitioner. And I told her again, like, look, something's wrong. Something's not jiving on that side of my body. I don't know what it is. So I kind of have to tell you a little bit of the back history between me and her. Like, she knows I'm not going to go into any doctor's office unless I have to, unless it's mandated or mandatory for me to go. Like, I have to go annually to get my meds refilled. If not, I can't get my meds refilled, so I have to go. But I'm not gonna just go up there just for the heck of it, just because I have like a little bruise or a little bit of discomfort feeling. That's not going to be enough to get me into a doctor's office. So with that being said, she knows that I'm like that. It's so bad sometimes where I go for my annual exams. She has to literally walk me over to the labs to get labs. If not, I would just, after my appointment's over, I would walk out and go home and see her again next year. So she knows I'm not really a person that likes to spend a lot of time in a doctor's office. So she knew immediately if she seen me back up there in a matter of, twice in a month, she knew something was wrong. She's like, no, I have to find out what's going on here. We got to get to the bottom of this. So that's when she scheduled me for scans. And I think the first scan, I want to say, I don't know. I know it wasn't I think I just got a regular X-ray, and then my second one, I had an appointment for a CT scan, so I ended up getting a CT scan. And then during the CT scan is when I'll never forget the day. We were sitting in the living room, just a normal day after the CT scan, and I got a call, and I looked at my caller ID, and I seen, that it was a number I wasn't familiar with, but I seen my family nurse practitioner's name above the number. And again, keep in mind, she never calls me on a regular cell phone. No, she would never call me on a regular cell phone. So I knew when I seen that, I knew it was bad. I just didn't know what it was, but I knew it couldn't be good at all. And I remember her saying to me, she was like, hey, I got to tell you something. Are you sitting down? And I'm like, well, yeah, I'm sitting here laying on the couch. She's like, is your wife, is Melanie close by? I said, yeah, she's right here. She's like, can you put the phone on speakerphone? And I was like, okay. So I put it on speakerphone, and she just broke the news to me. She said, Willie, she said, I think you have pancreatic cancer. And she said, I am so sorry. Like, like my nurse, we joke a lot. Like we have a very jokingly type relationship. Always cracking jokes. And it just, at that moment, she wasn't herself. I could tell it was uncomfortable for her to give me that news. And I'm just kind of like, what does this actually mean? Like, what is this? What do I do from here? And I was like, is it, I had a bunch of questions. And usually when I have questions, she'll give me her off the record opinion about things, but she wouldn't touch this. She was like, this is outside of my area of expertise. She said, I don't have no information for you, Willie. She was like, I have to refer you to an oncologist, someone who specializes in this. At the time, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sit up here and sugarcoat and act like I knew what any of this stuff meant. I knew what none of it meant. But she told me, she was going to refer me out, and then they would handle my treatment from there. And then before she hung up, she apologized again. She was like, I am so sorry. And I just kind of stood up there, just, didn't really know nothing. So I said, okay, Willie, get yourself together. You gotta look this up, and see what the deal is with this. So I started doing some research and everything, and most of everything that I was running across was nothing but bad news. Survival rate less than 5%. It was really bad. Like no hope type bad. Low chance of survivability. And the reason behind that is the fact that by the time people find out that they have pancreatic cancer, it's usually too late. So I started reading up on that, and I started figuring that out. And I was just more like, just kind of at a loss. It was like, man, this is all bad. There's nothing good about this. Not that any cancer is good, but it was, if there was any cancer to have, this was the one you didn't want. From what I was reading, it's like this is a showstopper. This is not the cancer to have. And I just couldn't. I was just trying to wrap my head around it. I was like, out of all the cancers to get, I end up with pancreatic cancer, and not just any type, like stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Because come to find out, it spread to my lungs and to my liver. More was in my liver than my lungs. So I was just like, it's like, oh my God, I just said, this is it. This is it. I won't be able to beat this. Throughout my life, I've had a lot of like bad crap happen to me over the course of a lifetime. I've been shot, stabbed, blown up. You named it. It's happened to me. In my time in the military, I mean, I have had a lot of bad stuff happen, and I've always found a way to beat the odds. But I just felt, for some reason, I said, this is one. I won't be able to beat these odds. These odds look bad. And I'm kind of an analytical type of person, and I'm looking at it, not even knowing what condition I'm in and how far along my stage 4 is, and knowing none of that stuff. I just was just looking at the numbers, and I was just like, I can't compete with these numbers. And then I started taking a lot of other things into consideration. I'm like 49 years old. I'm not I'm not just some young, in shape person. So I'm a lot older now. So there was just factors that I was thinking about, everything that was working against me. Age was one. I was a heavy smoker. I smoked probably like a pack of cigarettes every 2 days, maybe every 2 to 3 days. Smoked a pack of cigarettes. Another bad habit I picked up when I was in the military. Had that habit since '09. But again, it was just another nail in the coffin for me. I was pre-diabetic. I had hypertension. There were so many factors that I was able to work through in the past to be able to do whatever the job was I needed to do, or to do anything, and to keep beating the odds of being, old man, but still being able to hang with the younger people and do stuff. But this like terrified me that I was not going to be able, I just wasn't going to have it in me to just win this last one. Just didn't think it was going to happen. So I went from there, and I pretty much, sorry, I'm trying to get my thoughts together. So pretty much from there, this was kind of like my introduction to this new world that I was so unfamiliar with. And I didn't really know how I was going to navigate it. But again, I'm so glad I had my wife by my side. My mother-in-law, I love her to death. See, most people can't say that about their mother-in-law, but I love my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, my brother-in-law. Family support was tremendous. It was, they had hope when I had none. And I figure, I have to give this a try. I have to, I'll never forget looking over at my wife after we got the news, and she was laying on the couch, and, she was crying. And I just kind of was just thinking like, I'm not scared of dying. Like, I know that's a part of life. Like the realistic side of my mind, or the way I process things, I know, death is a part of life. That doesn't bother me, but I think it was more of just the fear of missing out. Like, I wouldn't be there with her no more. I felt like I let so many people down. Like I felt I let my stepmother down because my dad passed away a year ago. And I literally, you know, I knew my job was to take care of her with his passing. And I just felt like, man, like I wouldn't be able to keep none of my promises. It was just so much that was coming down on me at one time. And I just was kind of like, I gotta get this to make sense. So in the mix of doing more research, I started getting all these appointments because now I'm getting introduced to the cancer treatment world of medicine. Up to that point, I knew nothing about that. So I started getting a lot of appointments and stuff. So I had to go and see my oncologist for the first time. And I remember going into the cancer treatment facility here in my town, and I looked around, and I don't know what it was. I mean, I don't stay in a big city, but the town I do stay in, I mean, its population is like 120,000. So we do have a cancer treatment facility. Do they specialize in pancreatic cancer? No, I don't think so. I think it's more of like breast cancer, prostate cancer, colon cancer, stuff like that. But I'm looking around in there, and again, I'm not young by far. I'm 49, and I feel I look 49, but I'm looking around, and people in there that are like 70, 80. Like I'm literally the youngest person in there. And it's just, I don't know. I just looked at it like I shouldn't be here. Now, I know when a person says that, it makes it seem like, oh, I'm too good for this. And it was nothing about being too good for anything. I just felt like, like I'm, I don't belong here. I don't know how to explain it. But I know there's no way of making that sound nice without making it seem like, like they belong, like they should be there. It's like no one should be there. But I just kind of was like, just looking around, just trying to take it in. And I go in there and see my doctor for the first time, and I'm just more in just mad that I'm even here. Like I'm listening, taking it all in. He wants to get a second opinion, so he ends up sending me to this he sends me up to Denver, Colorado, where there's like a cancer center of excellence, or it's in Aurora, the hospital. I end up going there, but I talked to him. He tells me what his treatment plan is and what he wants to get done. And so there's a lot of tests, PET scans, another CAT scan. I mean, there's all kind of stuff happening so fast. And and I even asked him, and you find yourself, you ask questions that you already know the answers for. I don't know why we do that, but I was no different. I did the same thing. I'm asking him, well, doc, is it stage 4? And he was like, well, yeah, it's spread. It's already spread to your liver, and there's some traces of it in your lungs. I was like, okay. I was like, well, how long do I have left? And he kind of looked at me. He's like, we really we don't talk like that around here, is what he was telling me. He's like, that's not how we talk around here. He said, we're going to try to do everything to prolong your life, to give you a good quality of life. And I was like, okay. I left it alone with that. So, he got blood tests done, blood work and everything, and came back. My CA19, my tumor markers. For my case, I mean, it was relatively high. I guess it was like I want to say like 850, 860, something like that. And I know some people say, "Oh, that's really not that high." I mean, each person's different. If you know anything about your CA 19-9, it's dependent on the person. It's not really. There's somebody's that could be 1 million or 500,000, whatever. That could be high to them. That could be death to me. But 800 was bad for me. I was in pain or whatever. So he got all the initial blood work done. So I went up to Denver, to the Cancer Center of Excellence, to the schoolhouse or the hospital, and got more blood work done, more tests, and they specialized. They had a pancreatic cancer center there that specialized in that. So met with my doctor up there, and I mean, he flat out told me, he was like, "Look, he said this is inoperable. It's stage 4." I mean, very direct. And keep in mind now, he didn't sugarcoat it, just like my oncologist in my town didn't sugarcoat it either. Very straightforward, very forthcoming, telling you like it is, if ands or buts about it. So we start talking about the treatment plan that my doctor got planned for me and stuff. And I told him, I said, "Hey, he wants me to do gemcitabine and cisplatin." And he kind of looks at me for a second, the doctor up at the schoolhouse, and he's like, "Why did he pick that particular treatment plan?" So I told him, I was like, "Oh, he said he's had good results with it, and so forth." And he wanted to go that route and all that. So he was like, "Oh, that's not really where we start off at. Usually we start with the gold standard, which is FOLFIRINOX." He said, "Usually you would start with FOLFIRINOX, and if for some reason, if you had an issue with it, then we would try to come up with other courses of action or other treatment plans." But he said, starting with gemcitabine and cisplatin, he said, that's something that I would probably give somebody that was like 80 years old or like a lot older than you are. So I was like, well, that's interesting. So I took that information back to my doctor, of course, because I wanted him to explain, like, "Look, I don't have a problem with any treatment plan that you're giving me. I'm new to this, but let me know what was your thought process behind it. Like, why do you feel this one over what the standard is, which is FOLFIRINOX?" So he ended up, telling me again he had good results with it. Now, keep in mind, I left out, I just remembered too, because I'm trying to go back down memory lane. I did have the genetic testing done, and I have the BRCA1 mutation. So he said with me having the BRCA1 mutation, he said it would work well. The gemcitabine and cisplatin works really well with the BRCA1, just like FOLFIRINOX does too. It's a platinum-based or a platinum treatment, so it works good with it too. So I told him, I was like, "Look, I would rather go with FOLFIRINOX. Unless you know something you're not telling me or you're willing to share with me, I want to go with, the FOLFIRINOX, the one that everybody's going with." So he said, "Fair enough." So we started with FOLFIRINOX. So after I got the news for that, I also had to go and again, a little of this can be out of order. It's really hard to track all this stuff down, like specific days and everything like that. But I had to get a biopsy done on my pancreas just to confirm that it was pancreatic cancer. My doctor wanted to get one done too on my liver, but because of where the spots were, I think it was in the fourth quadrant of the liver. Don't quote me on that. But because of where it was, they didn't want to risk doing a biopsy on my liver at the time out of fear of puncturing my lung. So I didn't get the liver biopsy done, but I did get the biopsy done on my pancreas. So I got that done up in Colorado Springs at another hospital. So I think it was St. Francis did my biopsy. So that came back, the doctor that performed that told me the results from that it is pancreatic cancer, no surprise. It just made it official at that point. So after that, it was more or less me getting ready to get my port put in. So I got the port put in. I want to say the port probably, again, it's coming back to me again out of order. I think I had the port put in before the biopsy done, the pancreas biopsy. And the reason I say that is because I think they want to access my port for the biopsy, and I didn't want nobody touching that port until it was time for treatment, until it was time for chemo treatment. So, but I think that's what happened with that. So anyway, I got that done. Now I'm going back and I'm just kind of waiting to start my chemo treatment. They're doing all the talking back and forth with insurance companies and all that stuff, all that behind the scene type stuff. So then it was time for me to come in there for the chemo treatment. So I did the first one. Again, for FearNox, first one was not bad. I want to say the oxyplatin didn't give me a hard time. The ericatine, or whatever the heck that's called, didn't have an issue with that one either. The 5FU, I think, no issues with that. So anyway, I had no issues with the first treatment. So I left, got the first chemo treatment, came home, was like, wow, this isn't bad. If they all going to be like this, then this is going to be simple. So I'm up there like, wondering like, man, I want to do another chemo treatment. Like, oh, it wasn't even a week passed yet. I wanted to get back in the chair again because I felt like this is nothing, I can do this with my eyes closed or whatever. So I 2 weeks were up, time for me for my second treatment. So, and also too, got more blood work done, and my CA19 number is still holding around the same area. It hasn't went down yet after the first treatment. I'm still in pain now. I'm still in pain at that point. I did my second treatment. Now I started feeling some of the side effects, the neuropathy, the oxyplatin, the sensitivity to cold, all that stuff is kicking in on me now. Not unbearable, but more of like this is it's like a novelty toy or something. Like, oh man, my tongue, everything is cold to the touch. Drinking warm water, it tastes cold in my mouth. It was all fun and games in the beginning, it was like, because it was a new experience, which got old very quick. But in the beginning, had no issues with it. So I finished that treatment. Now the stuff's starting to kind of build up in my body. The infusions are. So I'm starting to have the side effects that are kind of lingering on a little bit longer than usual and stuff, but still handling it like a champ. No issues yet, right? So going into my next couple of days before my treatment, I started having issues. Like my stomach was cramping so bad. I was in a lot of pain. Like I couldn't even sleep. It was so bad, the pain was. And it got to the point where I couldn't lay, I couldn't lay in the bed in my regular bedroom no more. I stopped sleeping in the same bed with my wife probably since January. I haven't slept in our bedroom or whatever. So I had got like a kind of like a hospital bed or whatever, the one that elevates up and down, and I put that that was in my living room, so I could sit, I can sit up there and spend time with my wife and stuff like that between treatments. Because if I would have went and laid in the bed in our bedroom, she would have never seen me, because I would have been in the bed the whole time. Plus, it was so uncomfortable laying in my bed. So yeah, I had like a hospital version bed and put in my living room, and it's still in there right now, even though I don't need it now. But I'm so used to sleeping in it that I still sleep in it when my wife goes to work at night, But I was just having problems sleeping, couldn't get comfortable for nothing. So I went for my third chemo treatment, and I'm like in pain going into the treatment. But then something happened after that third treatment. Pain started subsiding a little bit, and blood work, my numbers were coming down a little bit. My CA19 was coming down. So I was like, okay, this stuff's working. This is interesting. It's working. So went through my other treatments, the fourth treatment, fifth treatment, sixth treatment. And I got to, I'm going back up to the cancer center. They wanted to see me again just to confirm, like, wow, you're doing really good. Your progress is good and stuff. Doctor still told me, he says, sorry, you're not a candidate for surgery still. I was like, fine, no biggie. And I'll tell you, I have my own views about this whole Whipple surgery. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me about that. But when I started doing my research in the beginning, I kept thinking like the goal is to get to a sense of stability where you will qualify for that Whipple surgery. That was like the goal. I gotta be able to get that surgery to be able to become Ned. No evidence of the disease or nothing. So that was the goal. But then I started doing more research, and I started kind of figuring out that it didn't matter if you got the Whipple surgery. Your chances of success or failure was just the same. It didn't make a difference. I started hearing about people still dying with a Whipple surgery. People that were stage 1B went into a Whipple surgery, came out 2 months later, they're stage 4, then they pass away. There's people I met in the beginning when I was first diagnosed with this, that they're no longer alive right now. They were stage 1, stage 2, got a Whipple surgery. Something went wrong, complications. They became septic, or whatever it was. So I started realizing like that Whipple surgery don't guarantee you nothing. It's no guarantee. Once I realized that, was like, why is people putting so much hype around this freaking surgery? Like it's the end all of everything. And I started hearing about so many people passing away that had the surgery. So I didn't care no more about getting a Whipple surgery. I just wanted to be out of pain, and I wanted my tumors to shrink, and I wanted to be able to keep it in remission. That's all I wanted to do. I didn't want to get opened up on nobody's operating table. I didn't want my intestines spurled out trying to cut something to do this surgery that doesn't guarantee me no better chance in life. I have a friend of mine. He got the Whipple surgery. He's still alive right now. I mean, just give you a heads up on that. But I asked him, I said, be honest with me, because you got the surgery, do you feel that you don't have to look over your shoulder as much now? He said no. He said every time he has any type of discomfort or a slight bump or a bruise or he feels this isn't right, he feels it's coming back. He feels he has to live his life constantly looking over his shoulder. So I'm like, you live your life the same way I live mine. I'm constantly looking over my shoulder. So that Whipple surgery didn't give you not one bit of reassurance that you were going to be okay. Because you still live your life looking over, like waiting on the boogeyman to come back. So once I realized that, I kind of understood. I was like, you know what? That's not even a goal of mine. Don't even care about that no more. I just want mine to be in remission. I want the tumors to shrink. I definitely don't want to be in no pain. And I want to just keep making progress that way. So that was my take on it. But it just constantly seemed like it was the same story over and over again. It was like, I used to tell my wife, it reminded me of a scary movie. Like this person thinks that they made it to the end of the movie. They were one of the last characters left alive. They're about to roll credits in the movie. Then all of a sudden, the boogeyman comes out of nowhere and slice them up, and then they're dead or whatever. I said, this cancer, pancreatic cancer, reminds me of that. And I know I got crazy comparisons, but I compare it to like that because there's so many people, I guarantee if you were to ask them, they thought they were in the clear. I know they thought they were in the clear. They had to think that. Like, I'm good now. And there's so many people that weren't good. They weren't in the clear, so it's like once I realized that, that kind of shifted what my goal was for dealing with this. So I'll just kind of go into some couple of updates right now, so I don't make this too long, but I could talk forever about this now. So right now, currently, I finished all 8 of my treatments, my FOLFIRINOX, and I am now on Lynparza. So that's what I'm on right now. And I'm taking this 150 milligrams. I take 4 pills a day. Side effects, there's still some, not as bad as chemo, nowhere near chemo side effects. The main side effects I have with Lynparza is fatigue is my main side effect. I still have some side effects left over from chemo, like the neuropathy and stuff like that. But the main one I have with this is fatigue. So, but no, I'm still in there. I just recently got my CA19-9 results. I want to say it was fairly low. So still getting blood work done, still going through doing my thing, just trying to make the best of each day, and trying to be healthy and make smart decisions with my health. I don't smoke no more. I gave that up completely. My wife even gave up vaping too. I don't drink no more. I've never been a big drinker anyway, period. But I stopped drinking when I got told that I had pancreatic cancer. But still, I'm trying to get smarter about things. Going to start working out, trying to eat healthy, just live a more healthier life. Because I made a promise. I told my wife this, and again, I'm going to be honest with you, right, wrong, or indifferent, whatever. When I was going through chemo, did I stop smoking when I was on chemo? No, I was stressed out, beyond stressed out. I didn't. No, I smoked normally when I was going through chemo. There was times I would have my chemo pump hooked up to me, the one I go home with for 72 hours, and I'm still smoking with this pump hooked up to me. I was so stressed out or whatever. But I made a promise to myself. I said, if I make it through this chemo treatment to the maintenance pills, the Lynparza, then I have to give it a shot. I have to try and survive this. I have to try and do the right thing. It's only right. I have to do what's right. So that's what I've been doing. And again, I've had no reoccurrences where I want to go back to smoking or nothing. It was, I don't know. I guess it was easy for me to give it up. Not a big deal. Just kind of moved on with my life. So the cancer center up in Denver, Aurora, did give me what my life expectancy would be. They gave me 12 to 15 months. And this was, keep in mind, before I started my chemo treatment. They said 12 to 15 months that you have left to live. So I figured, hey, I'll go ahead and document this, see if I beat the odds. Figure right now I've been going since being told that. This is my 8th month now. I'm not in pain. Don't really feel nothing. But we'll see. We'll see if we can beat the odds. See if I got one last fight in me. But anyway, I'll bring you along with me on this journey. So there will definitely be more videos, more things to talk about. Especially after some of these doctor's appointments I go to. I'll share any information with you that they give me and just kind of let you know how I'm coping with it. If you want to reach out to me, if there's any questions you have, feel free to ask me. I know I'm not the most knowledgeable person on this, but I do have my opinion and I have my experiences that I can share with you, and hopefully it will help you in your journey, or if you're just curious about it. So that's pretty much it. And like I said, I will see you in the next video. Talk to you later.